All right, so have you ever like walked into one of those massive factories and just been kind of blown away? Like, how does all this stuff even work?
It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, it's a whole other world. And today we are going deep on what it takes to run those complex beasts.
We're talking about manufacturing facility managers.
Exactly.
Big job title, even bigger
No
responsibilities.
kidding. We've got 3 RoleCatcher articles guiding us today. They've got a super in-depth career guide, manufacturing facility manager.
Their insights are spot on
And get this, they even talk about how AI is changing the game.
for everyone.
Yeah, for the manager and Andy, the job seekers.
It's a whole new ball game out there.
Okay, so let's break it down. What does a manufacturing facility manager actually do?
So imagine this. You walk into a plant, it's buzzing, right? Machines are whirring, sparks are flying.
Controlled chaos.
Exactly. And the manager, they're the conductor of this whole orchestra.
I like that. Orchestrating efficiency.
Right. But they're not playing the instruments themselves. They're making sure each section, maintenance, safety, you name it, works in perfect harmony.
So it's a high-level position.
Yeah.
But the RoleCatcher guide makes it clear. This isn't some cushy office job. What are some of the challenges of this work environment?
Oh, it can be demanding for sure. You're on the factory floor, often dealing with heavy machinery, maybe even hazardous materials.
You need to be tough.
Yeah, you need both physical and mental stamina. Spreadsheets are just one small piece of the puzzle.
Speaking of puzzles, I'm seeing digital twin technology in the work environment section. It sounds kind of futuristic. Is that becoming standard in these facilities?
Yeah. It is becoming more and more common, and for good reason. Imagine a virtual copy of your entire facility, right?
Okay.
And you can use that to simulate, like, what if this happens? Or how can we improve that process?
Whoa, so you can plan for anything.
Exactly. Even predict when a machine might break down.
So for those daydreaming about a career in this, what's the job outlook looking like?
Well, with all this talk about smart factories and tech-savvy managers, RoleCatcher sees 4% growth in this field through 2029.
That's awesome, but let's be real. Every job has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
What are some of the pros and cons highlighted in the guide?
On the plus side, high earning potential. Lots of room to climb the ladder. But it can be high stress, long hours.
A classic trade-off.
Right. High rewards usually mean high demands.
And the job market sounds super competitive. Any tips from RoleCatcher on how to stand out?
They have some great articles about this, actually. Beat the automated recruiter, for example, and streamline your job search.
What's the key takeaway?
It's all about tailoring your application, using AI to your advantage.
Like having a secret weapon.
Exactly. You've got to strategically showcase your skills. And I mean, in a way that resonates with those algorithms everyone's using these days.
So it's not enough to just be qualified anymore.
You have to understand how to work the system.
And RoleCatcher gives you the tools to do that. Streamlining your search, analyzing job descriptions to find the perfect keywords. They even have a database of common interview questions.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Love it. Now, let's say you land that manufacturing facility manager job. What's the career path look like?
RoleCatcher breaks it down into 3 main stages: entry-level, junior, and senior. Each level comes with more responsibility, of course.
So you're constantly leveling up your skills.
Exactly. They even suggest getting specific certifications like the CFM or CMRP. Shows you're serious about your career.
So paint a picture for us. What does each of these levels actually look like day to day?
Okay, so you're starting out entry-level. You're assisting with maintenance planning, supporting safety procedures, probably getting your hands dirty with some basic tasks.
You're learning the ropes.
Exactly. Then you move up to that junior role, and that's where you really start to cut your teeth.
More responsibility.
Absolutely. You're coordinating maintenance, making sure you're in line with all the regulations, even supervising contractors.
And if you prove yourself, you eventually climb to the top. Senior manufacturing facility manager.
Now you're calling the shots. Developing long-term maintenance plans, managing those big contracts, leading safety initiatives. The buck stops with you.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. But I bet it's rewarding too, seeing your vision come to life.
Definitely. You're creating a safe, efficient environment for your entire team.
It's more than just managing a building at that point. It's about leadership.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher has your back at every step. Finding the job, excelling in your role, even prepping for those tough interviews.
They even have a question in there. What do you consider to be the biggest challenges facing manufacturing facility managers today?
Makes you think, right? It's not just about what you've done, it's about where you see the industry going.
And speaking of the future, we can't forget about the elephant in the room. Technology. How's that changing the game?
It's changing everything. We've touched on digital twins, but RoleCatcher hints at even bigger advancements on the horizon.
Like what? Give us a sneak peek.
Think smart factories, predictive maintenance, a whole new level of automation.
Buckle up, everyone, because it's about to get wild.
Yeah.
It is gonna get wild. Okay, so we're talking smart factories, AI, a whole new era of manufacturing. But with all this tech, what about the human side of things?
Well, that's what makes this whole field so interesting, right? The tech is important,
Of course.
but it's the people who make it all work.
That's a good point. So even with all the fancy tech, a facility manager's leadership skills are still super important,
Oh, absolutely. They're not just managing machines, they're guiding their team through some pretty massive changes.
which is a whole skill set in itself.
It really is. It takes a special kind of leader. Someone who can keep up with the innovation, but also support their team as their roles change and adapt.
That makes me think about what we were talking about before, how to stand out to employers. You've got to show off those soft skills, right?
Yes. Adaptability. Communication. Those are more important than ever.
It's almost like a whole different language.
In a way it is. You have to be able to explain these complex systems to your team.
Right, because if something goes wrong,
You have to troubleshoot. You have to be ready to adapt to new software. Those are the things that set a truly effective facility manager apart.
it's like being that bridge between the humans and the machines.
Exactly. And those leadership skills, they only become more important as you move up that career ladder.
From entry level to junior to senior.
Exactly. Imagine you're a senior facility manager and you're bringing in this brand new AI system. Everyone's a little bit nervous about it.
Oh yeah, big changes.
But you've got this. You can explain how it works. You can calm people's nerves. And when it inevitably hiccups, you can lead the charge to fix it.
You're not just responsible for the technology. You're responsible for your team.
Exactly. And that's where those certifications like the CFM and CMRP can really come in handy.
Because it shows you have that deep understanding of the industry.
Exactly. You know best practices. You can manage change effectively. You've got this.
It's about building that trust,
Right.
both in yourself and in your team.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another important thing that RoleCatcher mentions. Safety.
With all this talk about AI and robots, it's easy to forget that these factories, they're still potentially dangerous places.
Very true.
And that responsibility, making sure everyone's safe, it all falls on the facility manager.
It does. And it's not enough to just follow the rules.
Right.
You have to build a culture of safety where people feel like they can speak up if something's not right.
Where everyone's looking out for each other.
Exactly. And that goes back to leadership, too.
How so?
A good leader doesn't just boss people around. They inspire people. They create an environment where everyone feels valued and heard and safe.
So you're not just managing a facility at that point. You're managing people. You're creating a culture.
Exactly. And honestly, I think that's where the real reward of this job is. It's about more than just the bottom line.
It's about making a difference.
Yes. It's about making a positive impact on your team, on your company, even on the world.
It really is more than just managing a building, isn't it?
So much more.
Okay, so we've talked about all these changes coming to manufacturing.
AI, automation, the whole 9 yards.
Right. What does that mean for someone just starting their career? It's
Yeah.
like they're stepping into the unknown.
That's why it's so important to never stop learning in this field.
So be ready to adapt.
Exactly. Go to conferences, take some online courses, definitely look into those certifications.
Always be upgrading your skills.
Yes. And that reminds me of something we touched on earlier,
What's that?
sustainability.
Oh yeah, RoleCatcher had a whole section on that in the industry trends part.
They're spot on about that. It's not just about efficiency anymore.
It's about the environment too.
Exactly. And facility managers, they have a big role to play in that.
How so?
Think about it. They're making decisions every day that impact how much energy a plant uses, how much waste it produces, even the types of materials they bring in.
So they can really make a difference.
They absolutely can. They can push their company to be more eco-friendly.
To think greener.
Exactly. And it's not just about being a good citizen, you know?
Right.
It's about staying competitive. Customers are demanding sustainable products. The companies that don't adapt, well,
They're going to get left behind.
I think so. So if you're someone who's passionate about technology and the environment,
This could be a great career path.
I think so. It's a chance to be at the forefront of a real change in the industry.
That's an exciting thought. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive on manufacturing facility managers.
It's a good one.
It really was. But before we go, I want to leave everyone with a final thought. RoleCatcher gave us a lot to think about, but this goes beyond just finding a job.
This is about the big picture.
Exactly. So here's the question. How will you shape the future of manufacturing?
What impact will you have?
It's a question worth pondering. And on that note, a huge thank you to RoleCatcher for their amazing insights.
Be sure to check them out if you want to learn more.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.